it's just the life I'm living, yeah. Oh, yeah. Devils in the pews and angels in the streets. Hating those who love you, it's time to practice what you preach. Wanna change the outside, but you are not looking within. I'm not a victim, no, it's just the life I'm living. Devils in the pews, angels in the streets. Hating those who love you, it's time to practice what you preach. Wanna change the outside, but you wanna look in within. I'm not a victim, no, it's just the life I'm living, yeah. Whoa, yeah.
How have you been?
I've been good. I've been enjoying the lovely weather here in California for now.
Can you hear the weather here? It's awful. It's just raining and windy and...
It was raining and then it was on fire. We're kind of going through the 4 stages of the apocalypse here. So right now it's just like that middle stage in between. It's really bad. So
yeah. So how are things over in the US? So obviously there's the coronavirus pandemic. How is that affecting things over in the US? Because obviously a lot of the listeners are going to be UK based.
yeah, no, it's been interesting over here, to be honest. I mean, some places are opening up, some places aren't, just like anywhere. Americans have this thing where we just kind of do our own thing and don't believe science for whatever reason. I don't understand it, but it happens. And then no, we other than that, it's the same as anywhere. You try to get out where you can. There's been a lot more online stuff, so we're in the process of getting some new music out there for people, and touring over there in 2021.
Yeah, so that sounds great. So how do you feel about not being able to give concerts a proper show now? Like, how is that over there? Are there gigs, and if there are they socially distanced or?
All the gigs that have come our way that we've been able to do have been pretty socially distant. They've been in more areas that are more, I don't want to say the word carefree because they're being careful. They're having hand sanitizer. Some of them are even checking people's temperatures. Not all, but some. And for the most part, unless you're at a table, same like, kind of everywhere, like you have to have your mask on. So there's that. They've done limited capacities and it's been cool. But even, in the most of them have also been outdoor. For it being outdoor, it feels weird. There's a vibe that, it's a mix between people needing the music and you feeling that as an artist and trying to provide it for them, but there being this extra veil, so, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah. So how is it helping your creativity? Is it affecting that in any way?
A lot. It's mostly just because it's forced, for those who follow us, like we gig a lot, like just as a band in general, like whether it be here or in the UK. Like when we were there last year, we did 6 months and we did 72 shows. And out here we normally average like 12 plus shows a month. So you're looking at like 3 shows a week. It makes it hard to find time to sit down and write and work on your craft. So this has kind of been a blessing in that sense, because we've been able to just focus on like, hey, I need to practice playing to a metronome. Hey, we need to write a song in a weird time signature, or whatever. So it's been kind of cool in that sense. Yeah, I'd say overall, like there's a silver lining to it.
Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it. Because a lot of people, they're finding that being cooped up is actually doing the opposite thing for them. It's actually like stopping them being so productive with it because of the mood of it all, rather than using the time, I guess, to force that out there.
Oh no, I mean, we're definitely in unprecedented times, and it's for sure kind of it can get very depressing, and it's hard right now, and I think that's why we need each other more than people think. Like I have a really good support system, between my bandmates and like some of my friends and everything. And for people who are feeling alone, like they've started doing a lot of like online communities where people are like having, like chat rooms are making a comeback, and I think it's important that people utilize these things, because now's not a time to be alone. Now's a time for us to come together and like be really supportive. And I think doing that and staying positive, most things in life just are. They're not good or bad. It's kind of how you take it and how you see it. And that's the same thing for this. I think if people come together, we can really see things in a positive light.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why Heretic isn't going to be cancelled or anything. It's just going to be rearranged if it has to happen. And hopefully everyone will be able to make it. And that's why I put out the 3 days rather than 1, because I wanted it to be a positive thing that it had moved rather than just negative, something for people to look forward to.
Nice.
I guess gigs are going to be different forever, probably. Like, even if things go back to normal, there'll still be different like ways of behaving with each other now that people have learned.
Oh, yeah. I hope that people will take this time and start to have a better appreciation for live music. I know before, would all happen, people would be like, oh, I'll catch a show, or I'll catch this and I'll do that. And then they'd have some sort of excuse for not coming, which is fine. People got their lives to live. But the outcry for, we need live music, or we need entertainment, we need to be able to go out. Like, I hope people don't take it for granted anymore, and that we're a little bit more just kind to one another and appreciative of the things that we offer.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess you playing these socially distanced gigs at the moment, with the crowd not being able to be a crowd, how does that make you feel on stage? Is it any different for you? Do you have to work hard?
It's weird. Yeah, you kind of, I'll say this, it's better than just live streaming, because there is a reaction and there's an energy flow, and you can feel and see the energy of that crowd and the vibe of the room still. So like those elements are there. But because everyone is trying to have a good time, but also like on edge, it's like being at a comedy club and the comedian tells a joke that's not really that funny, and it's kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? And then the joke after, but it's just stuck in that space. That's kind of where it's at. You're like, okay, the next joke is good and we're enjoying it, but what was that first thing? Like, where did that come from? And that's kind of the feel of these shows sometimes, but you get through.
Yeah, that's a really good way of explaining it, actually. I've not heard that way. It's either been like, oh yeah, it's a little bit different, but we're working on it. And so it's nice to see a different level of understanding it and stuff.
Well, I mean, this is, that's the thing, when you have a craft, when you have something that you consider yourself a professional in, it's you really got to take time to understand the parts of it. And I think the beautiful thing of music and what we do with music is you're changing a mood, you're changing a vibe. I mean, at least that's what, with our music, that's what we try to do. We try to give people an experience. We try to move people and really help turn their day around. at the best, and at the least, you know, at least distract them from whatever, you know, woes and sorrows they may be going through. So, you know, we have to have a heightened sense of like understanding reading a room and stuff like that. But, you know, we ain't perfect at it. I've definitely been like, yeah, we're gonna play this song and this is gonna work, and then it just flops, and I'm like, well, that was fun.
Yeah. So you mentioned new music. Let's talk about that
Yeah,
more. An album coming out?
we got a record. We got a record that we're working on. You know, it might be an EP, it might be a full length. We're not too sure how we want to play it yet, but we'll be releasing a single here soon. So if you don't follow us, all you listeners out there on online land, make sure you follow us on Spotify or Instagram, Facebook, Porcelain Hill, because we're gonna be dropping it soon. At least one song at a time. So do some singles, got some music videos coming out, couple lyric videos. If this works out. And then around the new year, early into the new year, we'll be releasing our record, and it'll be on everything.
So how do you guys work in the studio if you come a crossroads with ideas?
So right now, the way it's all come to work is like, so we'll get together, you know, and we'll jam something out, and we'll figure out our song or whatever, and then we really knead the dough on it, and massage the best version of that song that we can. Then we recorded it out, and then we listen to it, make sure it's all good. Once we have that set, then it's just like, okay, do we want to release this one first or later? Do we want to save it for the record release, etc.? And kind of look at our other, you know, what else we got in the barrel, everything else that's, you know, that we can pick from. And we just kind of try to go for it, you know. Right now with with everything going on, studio has actually kind of been a cool thing because, you know, for the most part it's socially distant, or at least, you know, isolating, and you know, you and the sound engineer, you know, you can make sure you guys all get tested and everything, and
Yeah.
you know, and during that recording process, you know, you really it's just you guys just dive in, and yeah, no, it's been that's been a good experience, I'd say. Best time for studio.
Yeah. So what is the best show that you've played?
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. You know, I'll say this: we've got some highlight moments. I don't know if there's necessarily a best one, but there's been some pretty good highlights. We did the Electric Picnic Festival in Ireland for like 80,000 people. You know, I mean, Billie Eilish was there. The 1975, The Strokes, that was insane. In Newark, there's a little venue called the Flying Circus. We performed there, and that was a magical night, absolutely magical. The crowd there was so receptive. In the Midlands, we did a show at this place called the Star Bar with our mates, the Howling Tides. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. Howling Tides are amazing. And these Wicked Rivers as well, which if y'all ain't heard of them, then I don't know what you're doing here, but check them out.
They're playing
That,
the Saturday of Heretic Fest.
yes, I believe they are. Yeah, yeah. So, and we love those guys. You know, we're all good mates, and yeah, that show was magical. Percy's Cafe, the Priory Hotel, the Waterloo. Like, there's England is such a beautiful country when it comes to live music, and a lot of people don't realize, like, y'all are a very big mecca for live entertainment and for rock and roll still. And I as an artist am very appreciative for all the listeners and all the fans and everyone who helps make that possible, because you guys love live music out there and rock and roll, and it's nice to see. It's refreshing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big thing here. And it's kind of odd when I talk to people across the pond like you, when I talk about the bands that are quite big here, and they go, "Who's that?" And I'm thinking they should be massive over there too, and it's just not on the same sort of parallel, and it's really
People over here were very about the crowds over here. A lot of times they're very into the image and the idea of, and if you're not already selling out stadiums, if you're not the next who's who, or the next, if no one's claimed you as the up and coming, they don't care. And it's really sad. A lot of really phenomenal talent, stellar talent, goes unnoticed simply because of the venue that it's in, you know. And I've always said the truest and the greatest of words get spoken in the emptiest of rooms, and it's really true here in America, unfortunately. But I think in England and in all of the UK too, you know, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, you guys have an appreciation for the art and for the talent for what it is, and the content that's there, regardless of the clout that may or may not be there yet. And that's a thing that I think you guys do amazingly well, because more places need that mentality.
Yeah. So if you could describe each member of Porcelain Hill in one word.
Oh man, let's see here. There's a Pokemon, and it's, you got Coughing, Wheezy, and Ghastly, and that's us, man. No, that's an inside joke. I say one word. So with Jacob, I would say Lil Jack the Kid. He's I there's a word for it when someone's young, but they're a prodigy. I'm gonna say prodigy for him for sure. And for Wildfire, our drummer, Sonny, I would say like just like a blaze for sure, because like wherever they're playing, their energy is just, it just catches everything on fire, and it's a beautiful thing. And for myself, if I was to describe myself, especially in the role in the band, I would just use the word tenacious, just because I don't let stuff stop me. I just keep pushing.
Yeah, good.
That's how I would say it.
Yeah. So how important is it that you bounce off each other on stage? Would you be able to get big with without that interaction?
Yeah, no, like there's been like certain shows or like recording sessions sometimes where we'll have to be like in separate rooms, or like we'll have to be like looking through glass, and if we have eyesight of each other, for the most part, we can get through it and make it happen. I don't know if we'd be able to do it completely blind. I'm sure with enough practice we could, but our energy in our live performance is probably, I would say, biased as it is, I would say is our greatest strength. There's something about being on that stage together. We get each other. There's just cues that we understand, or it's like, oh, they're gonna do this thing, or oh, they want to do that thing, and or oh, I want to do this, and I gotta let them know. And you've been playing together for so long now that it's a lot of it's second nature. It's family, and it's communication, and it's what makes the magic happen.
Yeah. So how did you guys come together then?
Oh man, so in 2013, well, even before that, in like 2008, I was going to I guess you guys would call it uni over there, but we were in college, and community college, and me and Wildfire, our drummer, we met. And we tried to start a little band, and it just wasn't right. So, we went separate ways, did a bunch of other bands. And then I was doing this solo gig in 2013. And I was like, hey, I need a drummer. You want to be my drummer? And they were like, maybe, we'll see. I was like, all right. And I brought my electric. I don't know why I brought my electric guitar still, because I was doing a lot of acoustic, but I brought it out. And, I was showing them the song, and they were like, all right, play it again. And we jammed out, and it was butter. So we were a two-piece from then on for 2 years. In our third year, we went to this jam, and this guy played bass, and we're like, yeah, we need some bottom end. And we ended up having a show on the Friday. And so Wednesday, I'm at an open mic, and I get done, and Lil Jack come up, and he's like, hey man, you need a bass player? I was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, we do. Let's go jam. We jammed a bit, and I gave him our CD. I said, hey, can you practice tomorrow, and would you be down to go to Vegas? And he was like, sure. So the next day we go to practice, and my drummer, they were like, yeah, they were just like, who is this person? Like, what? How do you know them? I'm like, just trust me. And we got in that room, and it was magic all over again. And we've just kind of been a band ever since.
Oh, nice. So it just sort of all happened. There was we've got to find someone. We've got to go through all these searches.
Oh, I mean, like any band, we've had stuff to go through. Lil Jack, he's been in and out a couple times because of reasons or whatever, and so we've had a couple fill-ins for here and there. And but me and Wildfire have always been the core bit of the band, and the magic that is the band, I should say. That's been us. But then he's Lil Jack, he's glue. He's an important part. He's an important part of it.
That's really great. It's good that you have that sort of like family relationship with them, like you mentioned before. I think a lot have that in the beginning and then they sort of lose their way with it. So it's nice that even after all these years, there's still that family element there.
Yeah, no, it's for sure like having siblings because we just want to murder each other and we get on each other's last nerve half the time. But we have this deeper understanding of this and this love for not just each other, but for this music, you know, and we know that we're able to tap into those parts of the music. We get it in the same way.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's hard to find, you know,
Yeah.
because there's been times people have been like, oh, you know, why don't you just, you know, go play this gig, or like if Sonny was sick or something, you know, get another drummer to fill in, or oh, you know, like why don't you guys get a better guitar player? Oh, why don't you just find another bass player? And the thing is with what we're doing, the way that we're trying to do it, like you can't just be anybody,
Yeah.
you know. It's not like a car where you take out one part, put a new part in, and the thing runs right. You know, it's like a gumbo. It's like a stew. You got to have the right ingredients for it to taste right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we will see you next year.
Heck yeah, no, I'm excited. Rock on.